Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you're at, ladies and gents. I am Kurojiri, your resident tinkerer and Medarotter, and this is the Medarot News Network, bringing you all the latest developments and happenings with our favorite pet fighting robot series. But it looks like we're going to be taking a step away from Meta Survivor for only just a second, but that's only as far as Medarot S is concerned. We have a couple brand new faces joining the game for Medarot on the Meta Survivor side. We have a whole slew of a new bot and a whole brand new returning mechanic from the old games that is more than certain to shake up the meta, especially when it comes to domination rule sets that more than likely will take place not just in events, but even most likely in even some super invasions most likely, just based on how they explain this mechanic is going to be over. And of course, in addition, we'll be providing a very special reveal by yours truly here at the end of this week's coverage, so do make sure you stay around to the end of that. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get started with the first number that you see here, a new installment by Mr. TAGRO himself as the fifth and final model, successor model, of the Holy Beast series that was introduced in Medarot 4. But that new model, as you see here, is HDR01 Vasilides, with a kit, mostly brand new kit, of RP shot, rebuild shot, tank legs, and the leg ability of reversal. Now, out of all the Holy Beasts so far, which includes Sappho Behemoth, Mizrash Levia, Shud Wyvern, and all four from that series, the only one that had not actively gotten a upgraded form at any given point in capacity is, of course, Greek Head, which was one of the originals as well. And, of course, being the one that kind of showcased at the very end of Medarot 4 was kind of the easiest one out of all of them, and even in Medarot S, Greek Head never really showed up too much as far as what he could bring to the table and how good he was. But with this new successor model designed by Mr. TAGRO, Vasilides, it does certainly bring a very much more aggressive front to a passive medic or passive healing type of kit that it brings. Just to kind of go over briefly what he does, since I will be saving most of that for the his official breakdown. RP shot, simply short for repair plant shot, kind of in the same place as HP shot from Cheerful Bunny 3. So simply put, attacks an enemy and puts a repair plant on the field. Rebuild is basically a continuous repair effect applied to an ally while active. So every time the row battle timer makes a tick down, that ally gets a certain amount of HP back. And Rebuild Shot basically does that, but for Vasilides himself. So gives himself a stack of continuous repair, and then also attacks the enemy in question. Then, when you pair that off with Tank Legs and Reversal, every time he gets a healing boost of any kind, he gets a success and damage boost on his next actual combat move. So honestly, this is most certainly a step up in basically every way that counts as far as Greek Head is concerned. And a very, very unique choice that Mr. TAGRO chose to go with as well, especially giving each of the heads in respect of their own specialty hat, which kind of adds to a little more personality of the entire model as a whole. Now, in addition to Vasilides, we also have two other models that will be going live as boosted rates as well with him. And those two models are AAG-01 Fermion with full repair, drain shot, sanctuary, float legs, and breakneck, who can meta change into a true biblically accurate angel type with a full kit of max shot, needle guard, max Vulcan, float legs, and reversal. Wonder where we heard that before. Then additionally, we also have, not from Mr. TAGRO, but from Mr. Horomoren himself, the counterpart and successor to the first ADV type, ADV-01 Boson, with danger, provoke, high provoke, wield legs, and hostility. Now, much like Fermion, Boson can also transform into an alternative type, much more aggressive form, with a kit of Revenge Sword, Deathlock, Hyper Survivor, Float Legs, and Fortress. So honestly, just between these three models alone, you have a lot of really solid parts that you can make use of. Vasilides, of course, being the only one of these three that is not a meta change type model, so something best to keep in mind when making polls for that specific banner. Fermion and Boson as well, being meta change models means that their rules are going to be just a little stricter, meaning you're either going to get the entire set all at once or none at all. And that is something very important to keep in mind when pulling for meta change type bots. Now, as far as Fierce Battles are concerned, it is going to be kind of a very mixed variety week as well, as far as conventional skills and ailments and other support skills are concerned. So it's going to be just a little bit of everything across the board. Starting us off on this top row is GBB-01 Slap Beat, with Shoot Boost, Beam, Thundershot, Flight Legs, and Radiator. SGT-0 Sagittarius with Suction, Defense and Evade Seal, Flight Legs, and Hidden. And KIN-0 Kintaro with Press, Double Hammer, Biped Legs, and Endurance. On the bottom row, we have TND-0 Tank Dunk with Napalm, Missile, Gatling, Tank Legs, and Bullet Rain. We have APL-0 Top Gunner with Radar Sight, Double Missile, Flight Legs, and Aim. And MDZ-0 Meduzar, Freeze, Sword, Counter Guard, Multi-Legs, and P-Loader. So, like I said, it's going to be just a little bit of a mixed bag across everything you can find across the board. So, lots of conventional skills, lots of attribute skills, some support skills, and just a little bit here, there, and everywhere. Ultimately, I do have to give MVP of the week primarily to Meduzard, primarily for the fact of a basic sword and freeze attacks are stuff you really can't go wrong with, especially as far as female teams are concerned and what she brings to the table. Tank Dunk also I would have to give an honorable mention because Tank Legs with Bullet Rain means it's a really great slot in for any of your shoot nukers that you can get an extra damage and success boost out of when you're able to meet that condition. Slap Beat mostly for Flight Legs or Thundershot, Sagittarius for Suction and Flight Legs if you need use of that, Intaro mostly for Hammer, and especially in the use of Silent Leader and flushing out with those AoEs. Top Gunner, probably for Radar Sight and Missile as well for the same effect of being able to flush out leaders with Silent Leader, but ultimately Meduzard is probably going to be the big one for this week that you want to farm for. Now, much like it is in previous weeks, we also have another brand new Super Invasion that is going live featuring Vasiliades himself. So, not 100% sure what that's going to feature, but I very strongly expect it's going to be showcasing a very specifically new quality of life feature and mechanic that will be going live this coming week as well with the release of Vasiliades and the 5th and final installment in the successors to the original base. No real telling what the rules are going to be specifically for Vasiliades, but given that he's a very aggressive healing-based kit, I highly anticipate something along the lines of, say, no healing or disturbance might be prohibited. But that's honestly going to be kind of hard telling because given that he's both aggressive and a medic, it's going to be kind of hard to cancel one without canceling the other and maybe interfering with some rules. Now, the first major quality of life update that we are also getting this week is that the Hyper Repair Metaforce, or the effect that it gives you of continuous repair, is getting a buff. Instead of originally getting it at a 300 to all parts restoration upon every row battle tick, it will then now be updated to 600, so they are doubling its potency upon being activated. Now, to explain briefly what this continuous repair does, it most likely will tie in with Vasiliades in particular, especially with repair plants and everything else of the like. So that means instead of getting only a very small handful of HP back to all parts, and granted, 300 HP is still pretty noticeable, like you will notice it if you do get that HP back to damaged parts, but 600 is definitely going to be a whole lot more potent and noticeable. So any kind of Metaforce effect that gives you Hyper Repair, which again, now will give you 600 HP to all parts that are currently active and not broken across the user and all allies across the team. Now, the other really big announcement that they're going to be introducing is a feature that is being brought back all the way back from the days of Medarot 4, and has only recently showed up in that game exclusively, and that is a new mechanic of 9v9 battles. That was actually one of the big staple features that put Medarot 4 on the map back when it first released, alongside a handful of other features such as Blackout and Shadowban, which add a whole lot more unique modifiers to rules specifically, kind of like what they're trying to do with Super Invasions. 9v9, though, is basically as simple as it sounds. You will be going in with your first team of 3 just as you would any other battle, but before you go in and start, you will also be assembling 2 additional teams of reserve Medarots to slide into each slot, which will be your slots 1, 2, and 3. Basically, as the front runner for either of the spots ends up taking a KO and falls, the Medarots in reserve right behind them will basically take their place and keep the fight going as if nothing happened without skipping a beat. And as kind of obvious and expected as far as 9v9 battles like this are concerned, it will be fighting very heavily under domination rules, which means if you want to secure victory, you must KO every last enemy on the opposing side in order to get it. If anyone is left standing, well, you're going to have to keep fighting until they go down, as long as that may take. But this is going to be a very exciting feature to introduce into Medarot S. A lot of people have actually joked about it being introduced for quite some time now, actually, ever since since they started introducing a lot of major quality of life updates through the years. So this one I am very excited and very interested to see how they're going to implement it. whether it's going to be through events or super invasions or anything, or even some rounds, say, for Meta League or online PvP. I would not be shocked if they choose to experiment with it. Now, I do also want to give a disclaimer, though, and explain that since this will be the first week that this feature will be introduced, I am not expecting it to work right away. So if it does feel kind of clunky, if it's not working, or it doesn't seem overly fair in some cases, give it some time to properly exercise and see how it works, and apply some some minor changes and fixes after this first week goes live. But ultimately, I'm excited. I am very interested in seeing where it's going to go and how it officially will change the meta as far as PvP is concerned, or even competitive as a whole. Since now with this 9v9, you have to consider a lot of other functions, such as, say, should I go in with a full support build, let them KO, and then come in with my aggression? It all ultimately depends on how you choose to approach this new 9v9 style. There also will be a new gacha mechanic that will be featured around and centric to the 9v9 battle mechanic as well, and this will be applied only to paid banners specifically. It's not 100% properly explained on how this is going to change, if it's going to be exclusive to all paid banners and they're changing all of them, or this is going to be just a specialty banner that they introduce every time there'll be a 9v9 event. So more information on that will follow as more information is released, and especially on the patch going live as well. So do make sure you stay in tune with me on that. Do make sure you pay attention to the beginner's guide as well in the Google Docs link below, just for more information on that when it does go live. Now, of course, with the new mechanic also comes an event to debut it. This will be our very first 9v9 row battle style event, and we have the opportunity to earn more limited time rewards, featuring the Aqua Medal, which has a mastery in shooting, healing, and setup, and leg masteries in wheel, tank, and sea. We can also earn another returnee from the days of Medarot 4, and that is PND0 Pianta, with radar sight, countdown, hyper thunder, biped legs, and mascot. And we can also earn the R-rank versions for Medarotters Orochi and Ryoko, which are also very centric characters to the Medarot 4, and even to a point Medarot 3 games as a whole. Now, I do also want to take a minute here and say that this week's coverage on the main channel was kind of weird. Like, normally they kind of showcase the medal breakdown and the event reward breakdown alongside they do the regular news. So I'm not 100% sure what they were going for this time, or if they forgot it or whatever. But unfortunately, I will not have a breakdown for Pianta on for this week's Tuesday at time of recording as usual. That will honestly be pushed towards Thursday or even later, when it does officially drop and I can see stats and I can break it down, put a proper breakdown and presentation together, and get that to you. But you will also see that on my channel go live. If you are subscribed and hit that bell, you will know that when that video does go out. So just something to keep in mind. Now, as far as rewards and bonuses are concerned, this is also going to be featuring a boss fight type of event. So pure sets will be encouraged across the board. Like I said, it honestly was kind of weird with how they chose to go about with the weekly breakdowns. I think they probably forgot a handful of slides, so I'm not going to discredit them too heavily for that. But if you are looking to prepare and pre-build a team ahead of time for it, the standard dungeon bonuses, as you see here for that 9% bonus, Arc Beetle D, Tyrell Beetle, Ares, Protomusha, and Tomoe will give you that 9% bonus per part equipped. And just for sake of clarification, that is for the standard versions of Arc D and Tyrell Beetle, not the crafty mode version. 6% bonus for any of the 6 Fierce battles that are going live this week. A 10% standard bonus for the SR versions of Medarotters Arase, Hisaki, Ibuki, or Nozomi. And a 3% or 5% respectively for the N or R rank of those 4 aforementioned. For the boss battle bonus, it's going to be just a little bit more friendly this time around, since it's featuring a lot of models to get you bonuses from. This time we have that 15% of course for Vasiliades, the main model itself. 9% for Fermion, Boson, Sappho Behemoth, Shud Wyvern, Sai Centaurus, Mizrash Livia, Saikachis, and Dorcas. And also worth mentioning, that is the standard versions of Saikachis and Dorcas, not the crafty mode versions, unfortunately. A 6% bonus for Pianta for anyone that does manage to collect her, and of course for the Medarotters, it'll be a 20% bonus for the SR versions of Ikki, Karen, Koji, Mizuchi, Kokoen, Hakuma, Shuri, and Rintaro. a 10% version, 10% bonus for Ryoko and Orochi, and a 5% for the N ranks. So ultimately, even though this is going to be a boss type event, I think this is going to be just a little bit more friendly on new players and rookies that are just starting out, since all of those Metarotters are available in the standard pool. The event Metarotters, Orochi and Ryoko for the standard and R ranked are also in the standard Medarot pool, and most of the models here between boss battle bonuses and standard bonuses are basically for boosted raid or up for grabs and standard pickup banners anyway. So more than likely, you probably would have picked up at least 1 or 2 parts of them by this point in time, if you find yourself even on the half-bent form of Lady Luck. But all the same, do make sure if you do plan to pre-build for teams, this is essentially your list to go off of. Like I said, no visuals this week again, since this week's episode was funky on the main channel, but I will not discredit them for that. As far as Meta Survivor is concerned, we did get a teaser officially for Arc Beetle that will be going live in Meta Survivor starting tomorrow, but Azu Ruler will also be joining him as another model that is going live. Basically, as it kind of expected, Arc Beetle will be focusing mostly on optic-based damage, such as with lasers or beams, and also boosting optic damage from there with his overpowered Prominence Beam. And Azu Ruler basically focusing on high speed for every level that you earn, and of course some extra power and speed on top of that. So if you're looking for someone to really pick you up with some speed bonuses, these two are definitely going to be some models you want to focus on and try to snag. Now, as far as the community is concerned, though, we are still always looking for translators to assist us with any current projects or endeavors. So if you are knowledgeable in coding, cleaning, Japanese, and have some time on your hands, or if you know somebody that might be willing to lend a hand, definitely feel free to join us in our Discord provided below, ask around, or even reach out to me and ask, and we can get you in touch with the right people to fill you in on what still needs done. Now, there is still a lot of work that needs done on Medarot 4, and if you do not know anybody or are unable to help, there is a link to Variant's crowdfunding below as well, where you can donate to the cause, and we can commission to have some of those extra lines of text translated on our behalf. Because the more of that text is translated, the easier the work is for the team, so they can mostly just kind of slot it in and retile as necessary, since now the hard work is done, and they just have to make it look pretty and make it look cohesive. Now, for the big event of this particular week's episode, if you guys have been keeping up with me on last week when I closed the Ori Meta Contest, and of course yesterday as well when I did announce I will be mentioning the Ori Meta Contest winners and honorable mentions, that is where this section of the MNN coverage is going in. So if you've been sticking around to this, great to have you. If not, well, you know where to find it. But just to kind of start from the bottom up and work our way, these are the designs that did not quite make winner or honorable mention, but are still fantastic all the same. Starting of course with Dr. Zock's design, Weather High Point here, as you see. Just a little tricky to make out the details as it was scanned, but it was a very unique umbrella type that specialized in a lot of coverage and guards, with the ability to meta change by basically flipping up into a flipped up umbrella like through a storm. So a very creative idea, very original concept as well. Really liked that. And this one here by Iron Clark decided to go with another a parody collab with another iconic series. This time around focusing on Dragon Quest Builders with his design of Construction, which is basically a tank-legged golem colossus type, which honestly makes a lot of very obvious nods to the Dragon Quest Builders and the aforementioned golem that definitely touched everyone's hearts in the latter end of the story, and essentially what he learned, what he ended up becoming towards the end of that particular arc. Wonderful work to the both of these. I love the attention to detail and planning out all the kits. Wonderful work. The next round is, of course, for my dear friend Lotto, Lord of the Losers, who does a lot of Medarot content on his YouTube channel as well, focusing on Big Blue, which is a whale type specializing in a very large cannon built into stomach cavity. So very unique design. Whales honestly aren't something you see done very often as a whole, either as a nod or even as a side concept. Of course, there's maybe 1 or 2, but not really anything like directed as a specific theme. And I really like the overall simplicity of the design as well, showcasing that this design is designed to be very big and very bulky on purpose. And this one here by Navaldi has decided to also take the round of focusing on parodying with another IP. This time around, he chose to focus primarily with Fire Emblem houses, with his design of Dark Knight, or Black Luna as it's called. A very unique design as well. Obviously, it is a very iconic design. Black Knight in particular are nothing new to Medarot. look at Untold in Medarot 4, and of course Shadow Armor in Meta Survivor. So very unique take as well. I like that, I like the cape idea as well. You don't see capes on a lot of models aside from collab models as of current, so I really like seeing more of that portrayed in a lot of models as well, to kind of help remind people, hey, capes exist and they can make, and there's a lot of very creative ways to make them. Wonderful work to the both of you as well for your creative designs. And this one here by Gray Mallows is a Wataero nurse, very creative, futuristic design as a mixed hybrid as between healing and shooting, also with a meta change type form as well, designed to again perform between passive setup, passive assistance, and forward aggression as well. And I really like the clean designs with it too, with the free forming parts and the very clean lines and colors. I really liked how that one came out. And this one here by the Yapper with Ferric Soldier. Now, soldiers, again, are nothing new to Medarot either, but this one honestly was a very creative design as well. Not just with the militaristic theme, but also being a mono-eye, which is something you really don't see all that often. Now, Kintaro, of course, is one of the more popular mono-eyes in Medarot, alongside a handful of others like Chaos Fixer, but normally they aren't, like, super expressive or really anything else of that line, or even just there for stylistic. But with Ferric Soldier here, and a very unique kit as well with Commander, Magnum, Hide Blow, and Stand Form, makes it very clear that when he's on the field, he's there to serve his duty and do his duty well. Wonderful work to the both of you as well. Now, for the honorable mentions, these two didn't quite make the cut as the winning entries, but still definitely were a cut above the rest as far as creativity were concerned. This one here by my friend Helm Chan with Chess Cat, a queenly Alice in Wonderland Cheshire Cat type, which more than certainly would make its place very well known alongside Little Lacey, which is the currently existing and canon Alice in Wonderland type in the game currently as far as Medarot is concerned. I really like the design that Helm Chan put with it as well, especially with the use of the claws on the hands and feet, the iconic Cheshire Cat grin, of course, and the ability to basically hide out of sight here, and which unfortunately I really did not have a chance to show because face reasons. But very creative design. I really liked seeing that, especially with a very clean and very simple color design that definitely sets it apart and very helps it stand out as an Alice in Wonderland type theme. And this one here by Vacus Mermaid, I do apologize if I pronounced that wrong, with Dual Gal, which is a Hitman type that specializes in not necessarily being secretive or undercover as far as getting the job done, but still gets the job done all the same. With machine pistol and SMG volley, she definitely plans to get in, get the job done, and leave. And assassin types in general, or hitman types, something I don't think actually has been done before. There is a spy type, or probably even a couple of spy-themed type ones, such as Danger Power from Medarot R, but that's kind of it. So really creative design. I really like the art style they went into with the thick cartoony pencil lines for the shading. I really like that function as well. So wonderful work to both of you for being the honorable mentions of the 2025 Ori Meta contest. I'm looking forward to seeing more entries from you and to all the other entrants in future contests to follow. Now, of course, for the last entry that was offered for the contest, and the winner of the 2025 PRB Ori Meta competition is by Carmana with their design of NBT-0 Null Beetle, but featuring a very unique style for the KBT or Beetle type design in general as a hybrid Beetle type, kind of in the same line as the Kabukua series, with featuring between a lot of very mixed range of attacks that it brings to the table, such as here with Thunder Beam and Needle Guard and Hard Hammer, and then of course complementing all that with Heavy Arms, which makes it clear that this guy means bulk, he means heavy, and he means to make the best use of every pound that he brings to the fight. So it's very heavy, very bulky, and a very creative design across the board as well. I like the visor monitor that they chose to go with as well for the head, and the enclosed cowling for the face as well, to kind of keep the head protected at basically any angle. The alternative concepts for all the weapons as well for what they chose to go with. Very nice design, very creative, and honestly, in my opinion, deserves its first place winning standing. I will be officially coordinating an art stream for this sometime in the next couple weeks, so do make sure you stay up to date with me on that here on the and on YouTube, and you can most certainly hear up to date on that. But again, wonderful work to every last entrant that was covered in this contest. I am hoping that with the next contest that we do choose to hold, in maybe the next couple months or so, that we will be seeing a whole lot more entries, to the point I have to basically make a whole stream unto itself to talk about them. So definitely try to keep me on my toes next time and knock my socks off once again when that next contest does get announced. On the topic of art, though, as I do wrap us up here, I am, as a friendly reminder, I am always open for commission. So if you are looking for any live 2D models ready to rig for your VTubing purposes, standard 3D models fully rigged with the works, standard art or emotes, I can do basically anything here, and I will do just about anything. Minus, of course, anything NSFW or Gore, obviously. I can also do mecha as well, as you see here. I feel very comfortable in it. So if you are looking for a commission of any kind, you are more than welcome to reach out to me on Twitter, Discord, or Blue Sky, and we can most certainly try to make something happen. But with that being said, that does basically cover everything. So while it is going to be a very exciting week for Medarot S, I was also very excited to announce this contest Ori Meta winners as well. But with all that being said, if you'd like to know more, you can follow us below on Facebook at the Medarot News Network page, or the Metabots Forever community on there that I do also run and manage. That is currently also cresting over 43,000 members. You can also join us on Discord in the link provided and in the comments below to keep an even closer ear to the ground on the action. This includes any new links to merchandise, fan art, contests, weekly episodes, or anything else of the like. That is the first place you're going to hear it before it goes anywhere else on the net. And like I said, you can also reach out to me on Twitter, Blue Sky, or on Discord at HYDRA for any questions, feedback, comments, commissions, or if you are a content creator and would love to collaborate with me. I leave my DMs open on purpose for that very reason. Last, but most certainly not least, I do also want to give a highlight to PLST41 and Superbaki, primarily because they are two of the head devs for the game that I streamed last night. If you guys tuned in and hung out with me, the Glitch Fairy. They are the two head devs that were behind that project, and were nice enough to give me the Steam key to be able to play it and play the game and stream it here last night on the channel. So wonderful work. I really do like the game, and I'm definitely planning to play a lot more of it in my free time. Once I'm not on the air, or if I'm not doing anything specific. So definitely give both of them a follow as well to support both them and their game, the Glitch Fairy. Especially if you're a fan of Toho or Toho-themed art, definitely some great people to follow as well. But with all that being said, as always, I do appreciate you all for stopping in, just as you always do. And until next time, this is your host, Kura Isagami of the Medarot News Network, signing out.